So y'all just ignore my hair because I can't fix it for some reason, and I'm not gonna do it at this late at night either. Um, so let's go over kind of the basics of banking, right? So most of us, when you go into an institution, you are kind of unaware of what to expect, especially those who are newer, who have never had a bank account, or who refuse to have a bank account, and you are just untrusting of the banking world. Um, Again, I'm just here to inform you. And so, what this first part of the video is going to be is it's going to educate you on a little bit of uh, the basics of what you need to know, as well as kind of the basics of like what you can do with some of this information. So, most accounts that you are going to be opening up when you enter into any type of financial institution are going to have mostly two things. There are alternative ones that will have more, but the basics of what you're looking for is one is going to be a routing account number. That routing account number is typically a 9-digit number. It is going to be kind of the basis of your account number to um, for other institutions to understand where to direct your your transactions to and or from. Now, you typically can't have a routing number without a account number, obviously. But with the routing number, it is kind of it's a number to show you the destination of what institution it's going to. Some of the larger institutions will have multiple routing numbers, so you will always have to look or ask what your routing number is depending on what institution you are currently with. The second part that you're going to be looking for is an account number. Most account numbers can range from, anywhere from 8 numbers up to probably around 16. Don't quote me on that, but you can probably come up with um, kind of an average of between those numbers is how much your account number is for. Now, depending on where you go, will kind of determine what type of accounts you are required to have and or some of the minimum requirements that you will have at those institutions. So a lot of your credit unions may require you to have some type of share account, which is typically a savings account. And some places will not require that at all, like some of the bigger banks, when you request for, let's say, a checking account. Um, so when you do either or, you obviously do have your routing number and then you have your account number and you can operate off of that. So what's the significance, right? So to have these accounts allow you to transact with each of those accounts, right? So the routing number and the account number allow you to go ahead and transact with that account, whether you are paying bills, whether you are allowing someone else to make a deposit. Those are very centralized numbers that you need to use in order to do those things. Now, the most common account that most people will have um, is the checking account. So, with the checking account, you will have your routing number and your account number, and then with those accounts, a checking account typically will allow you to have access to two different products. So, a debit card and checks. So your checks will typically have um, an entire section that has at the very bottom, it will have your routing number, your account number, and typically your check number, which is also located at the top. So that whole bottom line is the MICR number, which is just an entire centralized amount of numbers that has all the information that's needed for direct depositing or in order to use to pay bills, because I know some of you guys will pay your bills automatically. So those are the account numbers and the routing numbers, and typically the check number doesn't really make a huge difference, but sometimes it does. Um, with the debit card, it is kind of your daily, uh, you know, your card that you would use on a daily basis to transact with that automatically will transact through your checking account, right? So your checking account is kind of just your daily usage. It Most of them typically don't have a limit as to how often you can use it per day. There may be a limit to how much you can withdraw per day or to use per the card. And these limits are typically there to prevent fraud or to prevent you from overspending in certain cases without some type of authorization. So um, the debit card is typically important for you to know, which will come with a PIN number sometimes, and sometimes you can create your own PIN numbers. Um, but either way, just a small little caveat. Please stop saying the term checkings when you are requesting to do something with your checking account. And obviously, the reason for that is uh, typically the checking is not as much cumulative. It is something you use, will spend, deposit, etc. But a checking is typically a singular type of account. And when you are speaking of your savings account, it is a cumulative because the entire point of a savings account is to save it up. Just a small little thing. Just want to make sure you guys are aware of that. That is something that bothers a lot of us. I don't know how many people say that, but please stop using the term checkings. Uh, but to continue, to continue forward with kind of the basics of what you're doing with your checking account, with you paying your bills and using your debit cards on a daily basis, it allows you to consistently um, use it without penalty most of the time, and or um, without really having to worry about how often you can use it. Um, I'll make another video that kind of goes over, overdrafting and overdraft fees, as well as having draw accounts and what the term ACH stands for as well. So, and why it's important in the concept of checking accounts and savings accounts and other accounts that move along with it. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. I'll come back with more.